watching Jamaica Magazine, and I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Coming up in today's show, a trek through the scientific field where we examine the acquisition of a genome sequencing machine. Also, it's Tuesday, so you know we have Jamaica House Weekly, plus the news, right after this message.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
A whole way of celebrating it. They say the people them, you know, them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, burn up. Them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal, panta fight, you know. Medal. Amount of tongue we give them,
The celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it pre. Activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
I forgot to download the app to get the updates then.
The effort to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families and do business never stops. Get the latest update on how government is bringing this vision to life with the news and then Jamaica House Weekly.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, February 8. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is appealing to persons who are in possession of illegal weapons to give them up. A similar appeal was made to persons who have information about the whereabouts of illegal guns and their users. The call follows the launch of the Operation Get Every Illegal Gun campaign, where between $250,000 and $500,000 will be paid out for the recovery of an illegal gun or the arrest of persons in possession of the illegal weapon. Prime Minister Holness is urging persons to utilize the information channels available, such as Crime Stop 113, Police 119, PSTEB at 876-591-5671, or the JDF tip line 876-837-8888.
Use those mediums. Tell us what you know about the guns. Give up the guns. Call your police officer that you trust and tell them where the guns are. And better yet, tell us who are the gunmen.
He was speaking at the official opening of the Andrews Muse Recreational Center in Kingston on Friday. To complement the initiative, Mr. Holness says the new firearms bill being brought to Parliament will significantly increase the penalties for being caught with an illegal weapon or associating with an illegal firearm holder. Since the start of the year, 88 illegal guns have been recovered, with 13 being seized in Trelawney last week. Government will be looking to expand the kinds of materials used to build houses under the new social housing program. Currently, the main building materials used in the program are block and steel. But Prime Minister Andrew Holness says alternative materials are being identified to include board, bamboo and other fibers, foam and shipping containers. Mr. Holness made the disclosure Friday as he handed over a one-bedroom unit under the social housing program in West Central St. Andrew. The unit was built at a cost of $2.8 million.
We have to bring those into the solutions, to bring the price points down so that people can get decent housing. So I'm saying this now to say to the people who are looking for housing solutions that it is not always going to be a block and steel solution, and that you must be prepared to accept the other solutions that come. They are just as strong. They might be even better in terms of energy conservation, in terms of cooling, and in terms of the flexibility of designs.
The Prime Minister says 116 rooms in 46 units have already been built within the current fiscal year. Meanwhile, plans are afoot to convert the former Olympic Gardens police station into a housing development. During a tour of the old facility, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the development was part of efforts to rehabilitate and repurpose existing buildings.
This is a 7-unit block, and what we're going to do is to totally gut it, take out all the windows and all the partitions that were built in, and we're going to redo the plumbing, the electricals, and all the other accessories to the building.
Mr. Holness says the project will be financed by the West Central St. Andrew Trust. From the 7 units, one will be retained as barracks for the Olympic Gardens Police Station. Another will be used as a community center for the nearby Bay Farm Villa housing scheme. Approximately 10,000 persons have registered for the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme since its launch on January 1 this year. In addition, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says $43 million have been earned by the fund since the change in the pension scheme administrator and fund manager. The ministry is hoping to enroll the approximately 350,000 workers, employers, self-employed persons and any other group connected to the tourism sector.
And what it means, even if we did a simple bit of math, Ryan, is we could be managing at peak a little over 100 billion Jamaican dollars annually. And think of what that does in terms of the pool of domestic savings that generates in an economy for investment. And the strength of an economy and its ability to really grow is a function of its ability to convert domestic savings into investment.
While encouraging more tourism workers to support the initiative, Minister Bartlett says the scheme has started on a good note with favorable responses from the registered workers. The Tourism Workers Pension Scheme is a contributory plan supported by legislation and requires mandatory contributions by workers and employers in the sector. And finally, Jamaica received another batch of the COVID-19 Pfizer vaccine yesterday. It's the first of 2 tranches of approximately 649,350 doses from the government of the French Republic. At the handover ceremony, Foreign Affairs State Minister Senator Leslie Campbell said this represented the largest donation through the COVAX facility.
Your kind assistance in supporting the Jamaican health sector is greatly appreciated and marks yet another milestone in our country's dynamic bilateral cooperation in critical areas such as education, skills training, investment, shipping and logistics, infrastructure development, and renewable energy.
France has committed to sharing 120 million vaccine doses to developing countries by mid-2022. And that's it for JI's News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a 2-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
Prime Minister appeals for persons to join Operation Get Every Illegal Gun, delivers social houses to St. Andrew communities, and opens Andrews Muse Recreational Centre. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Vanessa Silvera.
Put down the gun. Give it up. Leave the gang. Dissociate yourself from the gunmen. Otherwise, the consequences will be grim.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness Friday as he gave an update on the recently launched Operation Get Every Illegal Gun campaign. He urged persons to share what they know through the information channels such as the Police 119 number, Crime Stop at 311, P-Step and the JDF tip line. Mr. Holness says a reward fund has been established and will pay out between $250,000 and $500,000 for the recovery of illegal weapons, as well as information on persons involved in the supply, distribution, and use of those guns. The Prime Minister adds that the new firearms bill being taken to Parliament will see a significant increase in the penalties associated with illegal guns. The security forces have also stepped up their operations, which have yielded 88 illegal guns since the start of the year. The Prime Minister was in West Central St. Andrew Friday, where he handed over a one-bedroom home worth $2.8 million under the new social housing program. He used the opportunity to announce plans for diversifying the materials used in building houses. It takes into consideration cost, energy efficiency, and environmental factors.
So I'm saying this now to say to the people who are looking for housing solutions that it is not always going to be a block and steel solution, and that you must be prepared to accept the other solutions that come. They are just as strong. They might be even better in terms of energy conservation, in terms of cooling, and in terms of the flexibility of designs.
The Prime Minister also toured housing developments in the area, including a plan to rework the old Olympic Gardens police station into an apartment complex. And Mr. Holness opened the Andrews Muse Recreational Centre and said the newly developed green space was one of two being planned for the community.
It will be an easy to maintain area, and it will be a gathering area. And so when you look at it, you will see it's a very minimalist design, but it is still relaxing and still fit for the purpose of recreation. It is not just designed for young people, it is also designed for older persons as well.
Earlier in the week, the Prime Minister was in Northeast St. Andrew, where he handed over 2 housing units. He told the gathering that the new social housing program, NSHP, would be scaled up to provide even more houses. Already 116 rooms in 46 units have been provided, with another 100 to be ready by the end of the financial year.
In the next budget iteration, which would start in April of next year, we're going to be a little bit more ambitious with what we can do, and we will be incorporating new building modalities.
The Prime Minister also called on the private sector to support building more homes for Jamaica's vulnerable population.
So there is an opportunity for the private sector who would want to fulfill their corporate social responsibility. Who knows, they may have a factory or a store in an area, and they know of a family or two who are living in really deplorable conditions and they would want to help. Well, there is this program, the new social housing program.
Newly minted minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Robert Montague, last week announced an initiative dubbed Project Shelter. It's an acronym for savings, housing, employment, land titling, training, economic recovery, and repairs to home. To bolster Project Shelter, Minister Montague says emphasis will be placed on certifying skilled workers, particularly for the construction industry. He asserts that there's growing concern of insufficient numbers of skilled employees in the sector, which has implications for the state's housing, infrastructure growth, and urban renewal agenda.
Training is of particular interest to this government and is a part of our thrust to ensure that our young persons are not only trained but certified, and the emphasis will be on the construction skills, masonry, carpentry, plumbing, electrical installation.
On Sunday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness viewed the newly renovated Rita Marley exhibition at the Bob Marley Museum on Hope Road. The day also commemorated the 77th anniversary of the birth of Bob Marley. Later in the day, the Prime Minister was joined by Culture Minister Olivia Grange at the public viewing of the body of Robert Robbie Shakespeare, one half of the legendary production team, Sly and Robbie. Mr. Holness also signed the condolence book at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston. Shakespeare's funeral was held on Monday at the Webster Memorial United Church. He died on December 8, 2021 at age 68. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. We return next time with more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
There is a machine that can considerably improve the nation's COVID-19 fight. And through a partnership with the Chase Fund, the microbiology unit at the University Hospital of the West Indies has acquired this critical equipment. Let's see exactly what it does.
There's a growing interest in Jamaica and the international community in genome analysis. That is, sequencing the total number of DNA in an organism. Such interest is sparked by the significant potential to find solutions to countless public health threats that emerge and re-emerge. In support of the advancement in health sciences, the government has invested in the acquisition of a genome sequencing machine for the country. It was handed over to the National Influenza Centre, located at the University Hospital of the West Indies in October 2021.
This investment is from the government of Jamaica to the University of the West Indies, which is under the government of Jamaica, though it has a charter. And it must be for always to deliver the priorities of the government of Jamaica. Clearly, the university has a research mandate. However, when the national priorities are identified and communicated, the government expects that the resources of the University of the West Indies, those that we have contributed directly, and those that the university, through its very substantial efforts, would have raised by themselves, should be directed to those nationally identified efforts.
This machine will assist local scientists analyze genome, which is the sum total of all deoxyribonucleic acid DNA sequence of an organism.
Comprehensive national surveillance of COVID-19 will require the adaptation and reinforcement of existing national systems where appropriate and scale up additional surveillance capacities as needed. Digital technologies for rapid reporting, contact tracing, and data management and analysis may support these capacities.
We must be strategic in our approach to building local capacity and resilience. It is a critical piece of equipment which will enable us to test for new coronavirus variants. The samples which have been previously sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, will now be tested in Jamaica, dramatically increasing our response to the emergence of new variant strains. We will now have capacity to manage the endemic phase of the pandemic, because there are always now going to be new strains of SARS-CoV-2 emerging. We don't have to wait 6 weeks to know if it is here. So our policies and strategies can be informed much better than before. And so we will know what actions that need to be taken much earlier.
The National Influenza Center is the only laboratory in Jamaica with the capacity to diagnose and isolate highly infectious viruses. The government has for some time been bolstering the center's microbiology and microbial testing capacity with recent investments including a polymerase chain reaction PCR machine. These long-term investments will enable the country to respond effectively to the immediate needs as well as future threats.
New viruses and pathogens are being discovered and are emerging almost on a daily basis. And existing pathogens are becoming more resistant and they are changing over time. And so the capacity of the country has to be developed for us to be able to track and trace. So when we see new diseases emerging, when we see old diseases re-emerging, we need not just to be able to treat them, which is what the public understands, but that is 10% of the problem. 90% of the problem is to be able to almost predict what is coming because you have been studying it for a long period of time.
The newest investment, the genome sequencing machine, is a key driver to such studies, and local experts in the medical and scientific community are all enthused about the possibilities.
What we're seeing here is a new service supporting public health, a new service supporting clinical care, and a new service supporting research. UHII is now part of a global network of cutting-edge labs, and the sequencing service fits exactly into what we're trying to do. And what we're trying to do is to prepare for the next pandemic.
Local scientists will also be able to use genome sequencing to assist them in providing answers to fundamental questions about antimicrobial resistance, which is currently a big problem globally. It should also assist in finding solutions for the control of hospital infections. The machine was purchased at a cost of $40 million, financed by the Culture, Health, Arts, Science and Education Chase Fund.
The Chase Fund is proud to be the funding partner of this landmark project here in Jamaica. This piece of equipment is at the cutting edge of technology, and we at Chase, we believe in that. And it will make our country proud by the service it will provide, and on top of that, it will single out us as a country, and Jamaica will stand tall in this effort because of this effort.
To ensure the machine stays up and running, Chase is providing financing for maintenance and servicing for 3 years, as well as for training and technical support.
The Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division is mandated to ensure the wholesomeness of food entering commerce. So it's a division that is geared towards food safety. And to do that, we have an inspectorate unit, that is our frontline unit, that would go to the various points of entry, to anywhere that stores food. So we have inspectors stationed at the ports of entry, at supermarkets, warehouses, we check containers. Inspectors are almost anywhere where food is stored.
The Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division has been accredited to the ISO 17020 standard, which certifies their competence in doing food and field inspection in premises, containers, and on ships.
We also do breeding for schools and universities. So yes, we do that with the rats. We actually do trapping as well. We go out into the field and we do trapping. So at various locations, we'll take some designated rat traps and we go out and we would trap rats, and we breed them in-house.
The division also comprises of a rodent biology and control unit where they conduct efficacy testing to see how effective rodenticides are on the rats.
There are some myths floating around with rats and how to keep rats away. And one of the myths is that you have to spice up the poison for them to eat it and to die, which isn't really so. It's best not to add things like gravy or other foodstuff to the poison. What you want the rat to do is to eat as much of the poison as possible.
Another myth is that by using select rodenticides, you will not be able to smell the rat once it dies.
The smell of the rat has to do with really how the time at which it dies and how far it is from where you thought it died. Another myth is that the rats can't climb on wires. Some of us would really see that, you know, they can climb on wires. You can see them on the utility wires. Another myth is that if a rat bites your fruit, for example a mango, you can cut off that bitten portion and eat the rest. No, it's best to discard it and best not to eat it, because if the rat has eaten part of it, they could mess on the rest of the fruit, so you wouldn't want that. So if you have a fruit that is bitten by rats, best to discard it.
In addition to the Rodent Biology and Control Unit, the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division also has other testing laboratories such as the Pesticide, Residue and Microtoxin Unit, a Microbiology Unit, and an Entomology Unit. For more information on the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division, an entity under the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, visit or call them at their offices at 15 Gordon Road in Kingston or 30 to 34 Market Street, Montego Bay, St. James.
That's all the time we have for today's show. If you missed anything and want to watch it again, visit our YouTube channel and social media pages. From all of us here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.